Eric went from a full-on panic staring down a CRA audit over the holidays to shutting it down completely in just 30 days. Here's exactly what we did together without triggering more scrutiny. Hi, I'm Charlene Tessier, your Canadian crypto tax expert, and in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I helped Derek respond strategically to the CRA without oversharing, overstressing, or escalating into a full audit. When Derek came to me, it was December 17th, and he had just opened a letter from the CRA requesting his 2020 crypto records with a deadline of January 17th, right over the holidays. He thought it was a full audit and he was spiraling. He said, I'm leaving to visit my family in a few days. Should I just dump everything to the CRA and get it over with? But when he forwarded me the letter, I saw immediately that it wasn't a full audit at all. It was a request for information, which is the CRA's first step before deciding whether to escalate into an audit. And that distinction really matters because crypto investors like Derek assume that being fully cooperative means sending everything. But if you ignore the request or overshare, you could actually trigger the very audit you're trying to avoid. Derek didn't know that. He was just trying to be helpful, but he was also knew that he would be away for the holidays with no access to his documents, and that deadline was already ruining his holiday vibe. And I told him this: don't data dump. We are going to do this differently. And what we did next made all the difference. The breakthrough came when I told him, we're not sending anything yet. Before this, Derek thought his only option was to panic and data dump everything to the CRA just to get it over with. Instead of reacting out of fear, we shifted to a measured strategic approach. I drafted a letter on Derek's behalf requesting an extension, explaining that he was traveling and didn't have access to the required records and that he would need until January 30th to respond. I also advised Derek to call the CRA agent listed in the letter and leave a voicemail confirming the same message. That simple act of proactive communication changed everything. This was different because Derek finally understood that CRA requests aren't a race. They're a process, and the CRA is far more cooperative when you keep them informed. And what about that extension? Well, it was granted, no questions asked. And just like that, we took the pressure off his holidays. Now, the pressure was off for now, but we both knew this was just round one. So I have a quick question for you. If the CRA sent you a letter tomorrow, would you know how to respond? Type yes or no in the comments. Once January rolled around and we had the space to think clearly because Derek had already been working with me, we applied my CRA Audit Readiness Framework. It's the same system I use to keep my clients audit ready year after year. And I break this framework down fully in another video, but here's how we're going to apply it to Derek's case. First, we start with clarify. We review the CRA's letter line by line and clarify exactly what information they were requesting. Specifically, we focus on understanding the questions they were asking about his crypto activity during the time period. For Derek's case, there were only two things they were asking for: his public wallet addresses from 2020 and his 2020 bank and credit card statements. The next step is retrieve, and I told Derek only gather what's explicitly required. No summaries, no spreadsheets, just the raw CSV files. Since his 2020 bank statements weren't available online anymore, I had him call his bank to request archived documents. They arrived just after the holidays. And lastly is articulate. Once we had everything, I wrote a professional cover letter explaining what each document was and how it answered the CRA's questions. On January 20th, Derek and I submitted everything clean, precise, and CRA compliant, And on January 24th, the CRA agent acknowledged that he had received all the data and said they would follow up if anything else was needed. And then we waited. And we waited. And we waited. And 1 year later, the CRA officially closes Derek's case. Yay! No audit, no interview, no penalties, and nothing else required. And today, Derek doesn't panic when a CRA letter arrives because he already knows everything is organized, documented, and audit ready long before the CRA even asks for it. But more than the paperwork, the real transformation is his peace of mind that he now has. He isn't losing sleep over deadlines. He isn't scrambling to recreate old transactions. He isn't wondering whether, did I do this right? He knows he's prepared because we've been keeping his records clean and updated year after year. And that preparation is what made this entire situation manageable. We weren't starting from scratch and we weren't guessing. Everything went smoothly because the groundwork was already done. No matter where you are in your crypto journey, Derek's story shows what becomes possible when you're prepared ahead of time. You don't need to fear the CRA when you are already audit ready and when you have someone in your corner who speaks CRA's language. And if you're watching this thinking, that could be me, you're right. The difference between Derek and most investors isn't luck. It's having a system that keeps you audit ready long before the CRA ever reaches out. So I've put together a free CRA audit readiness checklist that shows you exactly what you have to have in place so that you never have to scramble when a letter arrives. You can grab that using the link below and start getting your records audit ready today. And if you're ready for more support, you building your full audit proof system, you can message me directly and you'll find the link in the description below. Till next time, I'm Charlene Tessier. Here's to more crypto profits minus the tax stress.